So we are here to talk about Wave 4 out of 5 of the announced LEGO Dimensions wave of figures and sets. And it's got quite a nice little mix of franchises to take from. Some very interesting ones, especially for older gamers out there. And what I mean by that, the level pack included in this wave is the Midway arcade pack. That features a new level called Retro Wreckage, and the figures include the Retro Gamer Kid, an arcade machine, and the Spy Hunter car from the classic game Spy Hunter. So let's talk about the figures themselves. So you have the Retro Gamer Kid, who doesn't have much in the way of unique abilities, apart from he does have a lot of specific abilities, and he, unlike many other characters, he can sort of actually change through them on the fly. So if you press the B button, he will change his shirt, which means it unlocks a different ability. So for example, you can go through laser abilities, super strength, invisibility, super speed, and invincibility. So you can just go through them as much as you like, and then just hold the B button, he'll drink some sort of drink and it gives him that ability. So he's a very versatile character. It's quite very useful for getting some of those golden bricks, which for completionists of LEGO Dimensions, that's a pretty important thing, because there's at least 400 of the damn things. But what comes with the Retro Kid is the arcade machine gadget. Now this is a very important required gadget to unlock quite a lot of things in LEGO Dimensions. You may have seen a few walls around in some of the story missions that have a little wall next to it with like a Defender arcade marquee slapped around on it. You actually need to drive the arcade machine gadget into those slots, and that will unlock a classic arcade machine from Midway's past. So if you don't know who Midway are, they were a arcade manufacturer that were very, very popular. They did everything from Joust, Gauntlet, into things like Mortal Kombat. They did a hell of a lot before they were bankrupt about 10 years ago, I think it was. And this level pack is very much focused around those Midway games. And the last vehicle in this set is the Spy Hunter vehicle, which is comes from the game Spy Hunter, as you'd imagine. And it's a very nice looking kind of white car. It's just a car at the end of the day. It's got a few nice abilities when you upgrade, such as you can turn it into a boat or even a sort of flying vehicle, which is very, very cool. But it's just a car at the end of the day, and not many people have many practical use for these vehicles. They're just cool to kind of drive around and do races and things. But the big deal about this pack is the level, which is Retro Wreckage. And it's quite clever actually, because it's got 5 of these arcade machines in. It's almost like an introduction to how to unlock these machines. You will unlock these arcade machines by solving a few typical LEGO Dimensions puzzles, and you'll go into the machines and you actually have to play the games and get a certain score. When you play the arcade machines in LEGO Dimensions, you will actually have to have these sort of achievements, like these gold, silver and bronze goals that you can get, and in this particular level you'll have to get the bronze goal to progress through this level and eventually beat, I think it's 5 of these arcade machines that you need to go through. And actually reaching those goals will also earn you a hell of a lot of studs, which is handy if you're trying to pay for some of those more expensive upgrades. But this level, it's not very long, it won't take you very long to finish, but what I particularly like about it, it's sort of a kind of really nice way to present you a retro arcade compilation without just the boring menus. So as I said before, throughout the story mode you'll see these unlockable arcade machines, so you can find them all. And then when you found them all, you can go into the retro gaming world, the hub world that you can get with every level pack, Lego pack, and you can actually play those games right there without having to go and find them in the individual levels. But what's good about this hub world is that it also tells you what levels those games are in as well, so it kind of helps you find them a bit, lets you keep track of which ones you have and which ones you don't. But this is an amazing series of old classic, I mean really old and classic retro arcade games. You've got Gauntlet, you've got Joust, you've got Spy Hunter, you've got pretty much every kind of major Midway game is in here. I think there's about 20 games in total, so that will keep you busy unlocking them and of course playing them. This isn't a pack that's going to appeal to younger audiences. This is for kind of older gamers, and for that reason it's not an instant recommendation unless you're a completionist and really want that arcade machine gadget, which is quite quite required if you want to get everything. And actually that arcade cabinet model was really nice. It's so nice to have this little Lego arcade cabinet model. I wish I did more of these. The one that comes with the set is a Defender cabinet, but I'd love them to make more because it's just such a cool little model to build. So that's the Midway arcade pack, which, as I say, it's worth a try if you really like retro games or if you're a completionist. Otherwise you might not really want to bother too much, but for me personally it's a recommendation. Next up is the Ghostbusters Fun Pack Stay Puft with Terror Dog. Now I'm a big fan of Ghostbusters, and I'm kind of that age where Ghostbusters was sort of everywhere when I was a bit younger. And the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is just an incredibly iconic villain. I guess he's a sort of villain, yeah, pretty much. He is the Destroyer after all. And he's this kind of cute little Lego minifig which looks so cool. They've done a really fantastic job with the figure itself. The Terror Dog vehicle slash gadget, it's quite a cool little model. It doesn't do too much as a stock option, but if you do upgrade it, it can kind of do things like fly and breathe fire, the usual stuff. But as I said before, there's only so much use you'll get out of some of those gadgets. As for the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man's abilities in game, he's not an integral character to purchase really. He's got quite a few different abilities. He's got things like big transform, super strength, they can do hazard protection, but those abilities are on other characters, so it's not like he's a particularly unique character to have. And for that reason I'd say the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, unless you really love Ghostbusters and really want that admittedly awesome minifigure, you can kind of miss this because you can get his abilities elsewhere. It's not important to get all those golden bricks. Next up comes the first of two DC Comics fun packs, and this first one I'm going to talk about is Aquaman with the Aqua Watercraft. Now Aquaman, you may laugh about his ability to talk to fish and things like that, but he is an essential character in LEGO Dimensions if you want to collect everything, and that's because he is the only character to have the Atlantis ability, where he can talk to fish and summon sea life and do all sorts of water effects. He's the only person with that ability, so if you want to get everything, you do need to buy this character. I cannot stress that enough. You will need to buy him if you want to get everything in LEGO Dimensions. He's got some other abilities as well. He can swim underwater naturally, and he's got a water spray, so he can make flowers grow for a few puzzles. He can clean some of the slime out of the way, like the purple and green slime you get in some levels. So he is actually quite useful. What he does come with, which isn't so useful, is the Aqua Watercraft, which is a vehicle that can swim underwater, which doesn't seem quite necessary considering Aquaman can do that very well on his own, thank you very much. It's a silly little vehicle, it doesn't look that great, it looks quite stupid looking to be honest, but it does look like the kind of vehicle that Aquaman would drive. But as I said before, if you are a completionist, then this is a definite buy to pick it up. Otherwise you probably might not want to bother unless you really like Aquaman. The last fun pack in this wave is the DC Comics fun pack Superman with Hoverpod. Now Superman is probably one of the most iconic characters to appear in LEGO Dimensions, so it's quite odd that it's taken this long to release him as part of a wave. As you can imagine, he's got a hell of a lot of abilities. He's got your freeze breath, which is, he's the only person to have that freeze breath abilities, which isn't terribly useful. It can freeze enemies and that's pretty much about it. He's got the laser eyes, of course, which is handy for getting rid of some of those golden blocks that you find, among other things. He's got super strength, of course, as you would expect from Superman. He's got your X-ray vision, which is handy for a couple of puzzles, although that's not a particularly unique ability to have. He can swim and he can fly, of course, and when you're flying it even does the classic John Williams Superman score, which, as I've said in the written review, it's quite amusing and fun for the first couple of times, but then it just gets irritating. Some of the other characters do similar things when they fly, and it's just so annoying after a couple of attempts. You kind of don't want to use them for flying, which is a shame really. But he's a pretty all-rounder character. He's not essential, as I say, like there are other characters that have similar abilities, so it's not important in terms of if you want to get everything. But if you like Superman, the figure is pretty cool. He's got a little cape. it's a Superman figure. You may already have one with other Lego sets, but this is one that works with Lego Dimensions. If that's for you, then it might be of interest for you. He comes with a hover pod. Now, like Aquaman and Wonder Woman and a few other of the superhero characters, the vehicle is pretty much pointless. It can fly around, and if you upgrade it, it can, you know, fire bullets. But again, Superman can fly. He doesn't need a flying vehicle, so it's an okay model, but it's not a particularly great reason to actually buy this set. So as my verdict, if you like Superman, then yeah, by all means, like any other of these sets, then you're probably going to pick it up. But the rest of us, from a gameplay standpoint, he's not that special. Other characters have his abilities, and you could just save your money and get some of the more certain ability-based packs out there. So that's it for my little Wave 4 rundown. It's a nice little kind of range of figures there, a range of really important certain things that you need to buy if you want to get everything. In terms of in-game stuff, there's quite a lot of stuff that's quite redundant, so buyer beware. Hopefully you found this video interesting and enlightening. We've only got one wave left after this one, and that's going to be quite a smaller wave, but we'll see how those figures come out when they arrive. Thank you very much for watching this video. As always, you can subscribe to the God Is a Geek YouTube channel and check out all of our wonderful, fantastic videos, which you can subscribe to and see all that on your computer screens and beam them into your eyeballs.
I'm not asking a lot. It's just, if I could just win the lottery or something, you know, and I'd just live happier. And the thing is,
should have backed the God Is a Geek Patreon.